For 20 years, she lived in our home as a stranger. We called her Aunt Clara. We never asked about her past. We never asked about the small, locked suitcase she kept under her bed. My name is David Thorne. I was a man who measured success in quarterly reports and profit margins. Until one freezing December night, my 7-year-old daughter saw what I had learned to ignore. She saw a human being. "Dad, she's freezing," she cried. Those 3 words shattered my world. I brought the woman home. It was supposed to be for one night. Just one night of warmth. She stayed for 20 years. She became our family. And on the morning of her funeral, as we finally opened that old suitcase, we found the photograph. And the name written on the back was my mother's. My mother's name was Eleanor Thorne. She died when I was 4 years old. Car accident. My father, he never really recovered. He built Thorne Enterprises into an empire, they say, to bury his grief. He died when I was in college, leaving me a fortune and a hollow heart. I thought I knew everything about my family. It was a simple, tragic story. Until today, my memory of her is a feeling, a warmth, the scent of lavender and baking bread, a soft voice singing. After she was gone, the house grew quiet. My father's love was shown in tuition checks and high expectations. I learned to equate success with distance. By 35, I was CEO. I had a beautiful daughter, Chloe, after a marriage that, like my father's, crumbled under the weight of things unsaid. And so, it was just Chloe and me. And the silence. The night it happened was December 18th. It was viciously cold. The kind of cold that bites through glass. I was driving Chloe home from a holiday recital. My mind was a million miles away, on a merger, a hostile takeover. The world outside my window was just a blur of Christmas lights and rushing pedestrians. But Chloe saw the world in HD. "Daddy, stop the car." It was a command, not a request. I glanced in the rear view. That lady, she has no gloves. I looked, and for the first time I saw, not a statistic, not a city problem, a woman, hunched on a bench in the bus shelter, wrapped in what looked like every piece of clothing she owned, a small, battered suitcase at her feet. The wind was whipping snow in horizontal sheets. "Dad, she's freezing." There was a raw panic in her voice I'd never heard before. It cut through the classical music, through the boardroom in my head. I hesitated. 1,000 thoughts. It's not safe. We should call social services. She might be unstable. But then I looked at my daughter's face in the mirror. Her eyes were wide, not with fear, but with a fierce, undeniable empathy. She was begging me to be the man she believed I was. The cold hit me like a wall. I walked over, my expensive leather shoes crunching in the fresh snow. "Ma'am." She looked up. Her eyes were the color of a winter sky, clear and exhausted. There was no begging in them, no expectation, just a deep, resigned weariness. "You can't stay out here. You'll freeze." "I'm all right," she said. But she wasn't. Her shivering was violent. I did what felt, for the first time in a long time, instinctual. I took off my overcoat, cashmere, ridiculously impractical for the weather, and draped it over her shoulders. "Please, let me give you a ride to a shelter. Or somewhere warm." She looked past me to the car. She saw Chloe's face, peering out from the back seat. Something shifted in those winter blue eyes. A softening. A memory, perhaps. She gave the smallest nod. The inside of the car filled with the scent of damp wool and the profound silence of a stranger's suffering. I asked for her name. "Clara." "I'm David. This is Chloe. Is there family we can call Clara?" "No." That single word held a finality that chilled me more than the weather. I drove, not to a shelter, but past my downtown penthouse. I kept driving to our home in the old tree-lined suburbs. The house that was always too big, too quiet. "You can stay tonight. In the guest room. It's warm. We have soup." She didn't argue. She just clutched her small suitcase and followed us inside. Seeing her in our foyer was a shock. The polished floors, the modern art, they seemed to mock her vulnerability. But Chloe was a force of nature. She led Clara to the kitchen, sat her down, and insisted on making hot chocolate. I stood there, the CEO, utterly useless. I watched as this frail, silent woman watched my daughter. And in her eyes, I didn't see pity or envy. I saw a deep, aching recognition. That night, after Clara was settled in the guest room, Chloe hugged me extra tight. She's like the bird with the broken wing we helped, Daddy. But sadder. One night turned into a week. Clara was a ghost in the house. She'd wake early, make herself tea, and sit by the window, staring out at the garden. She was meticulously clean, fiercely private. She refused any offer to buy her new clothes, mending her old ones with careful, precise stitches. After a week, I sat her down. Clara, you're welcome to stay. As long as you need. We have the space. I can earn my keep. I can cook. I can clean. And so she did. Not as staff but as a presence. She made soups that filled the house with smells my childhood memories vaguely recalled. She darned my socks. She listened to Chloe read. Slowly, the silence in the house changed. It wasn't the silence of absence anymore. It was a peaceful, companionable quiet. Months blurred into years. Clara became Aunt Clara. She was the constant in Chloe's life, the one who attended every school play when I was stuck in Tokyo or Frankfurt, the one who had a cookie and a listening ear after a bad day. She healed parts of our fractured little family we didn't know were broken, but her past remained a locked door. That small suitcase stayed under her bed. We had an unspoken rule we never asked. Her life began the night we found her. I assumed she was a widow, perhaps with no children, fallen on hard times. Common, tragic story. How arrogant of me. How blind. When Chloe turned 16, we had our first real blowout. She wanted to study art. I wanted her to have the security of a business degree. I said things about passion not paying bills. She screamed that I was just like my father, a ghost in a suit. She ran to her room. I was left standing there, my own words echoing hollowly. Clara walked in holding 2 cups of tea. She didn't speak about the fight. Instead, she looked at me, her gaze piercing. You are not your father, David, but you are afraid of becoming him. So you build the same walls and call them love. It was the most personal thing she'd ever said to me. Took my breath away. How did you? I see the ghost around you. The ghost of the boy who lost his mother. You think you have to be the rock for Chloe. But sometimes, David, the rock needs to be the soil. Let her grow. Even if it's in a direction you don't understand. She left the tea and walked out. Her words unraveled me. That night, I apologized to Chloe. We really talked, for the first time in years. Clara had seen the core of our struggle, a generational echo of loss and emotional distance. It was as if she had a map to a heart she'd never been given access to. The years continued their march. Chloe went to art school. I semi-retired, finding more joy in mentoring young entrepreneurs than in closing deals. And Clara, she grew older, frilier. Her sharp blue eyes began to cloud. The hands that once mended socks with such precision now trembled. She started calling me Daniel sometimes, before correcting herself. We hired a nurse, but Clara hated the fuss. One evening, I found her in the garden, holding a small, tarnished locket I'd never seen before. Beautiful locket, Clara. She smiled softly, looking far away. He gave it to me on the pier. The music was playing, and the waves. Her voice trailed off. It was the first crack in the wall around her past. A glimpse of a girl, a pier, music, a he. I helped her inside, my mind whirring. Who was he? But the moment passed, and the wall was back. The end came softly, like the last leaf falling from an autumn tree. She was in her bed, in the room that had been hers for 2 decades. The nurse said it wouldn't be long. Chloe flew home. We sat with her, holding her hands, playing her favorite classical music, Chopin. Her breathing was shallow. She opened her eyes one last time, looking first at Chloe with infinite tenderness, then at me. There was no fear. There was a profound apology. and a secret poised on her lips. "Forgive me, Eleanor." My blood ran cold. Eleanor, my mother's name. Before I could process it, before I could form a question, she was gone. A final, soft sigh, and the secret, whatever it was, left with her. A few days later, after the funeral, the house felt emptier than it ever had before. The silence returned, but now it was a hungry silence, filled with the echo of her last word. Chloe and I stood at the door to her room. It was time. We had to pack her things, to decide what to keep, what to donate. But first, there was the suitcase. It sat on her neatly made bed, a silent sentinel from a life we never knew. My hands felt clumsy as I undid the brittle leather straps. The clasps gave way with a soft, protesting creak. Inside, everything was folded with a neatness that spoke of a lifetime of order amidst chaos. A simple floral dress, worn soft. A man's heavy wool sweater, carefully mended at the elbows. A small, hinged wooden box. And a bundle of letters, tied with a faded blue ribbon that might have once been the color of her eyes. On top of it all, face down, was a photograph. I picked it up, and the world I knew dissolved. It was a photograph from another universe. A young woman, breathtakingly beautiful, with dark hair flowing in the wind and a smile so radiant it seemed to generate its own light. She was being spun in a joyful dance by a young man, handsome and vibrant, his face alight with laughter. The love between them was a physical force, leaping out of the faded paper. My thumb brushed over the young man's face. The eyes, the smile, a haunting, nagging familiarity. I flipped the photograph over. The elegant, cursive inscription was like a punch to my heart. To my dearest Clara, forever yours, Robert. Summer 54. Robert, my father's name. Summer of 1954, the year before he met my mother. I sat down hard on the edge of the bed, the room tilting around me. The winter blue eyes of the old woman I'd known for 20 years were the same sparkling, joyful eyes of the girl in this picture. My father and Clara. With trembling hands, I untied the ribbon on the letters. The first envelope was addressed in my father's distinctive, sharp handwriting, a handwriting I'd seen on old business documents and my childhood birthday cards. Miss Clara Dawson, 17 Elm Street. I pulled out the brittle paper. My dearest Clara, it began. The days here are long and gray, but I see your face in every sunset. I count the hours until I can hold you again. I'm saving every cent. Wait for me. Forever yours, Robert. Letter after letter. A love story unfolded in ink. Dreams shared, loneliness confessed, promises made. Then the letters from my father stopped, and the bundle held other things. A faded, official-looking telegram. I unfolded it, dreading what I would find. Regret to inform you, private. Robert Thorne reported missing in action. Stop Korea. Stop. The date was late 1950. He was presumed dead. But there was one last letter, in Clara's own graceful script. It was unsent. The date was just a few years before we found her. It began, "My dearest Robert," or should I say, "to the ghost of the man I loved." And as I read, the full, devastating truth crashed over me. They were deeply, passionately in love. He was a dockworker's son with big dreams. She was a seamstress's daughter with a poet's heart. Her family forbade it. He left for the West to make his fortune, promising to return. They wrote every day. Then came the telegram. Heartbroken and alone, Clara discovered she was carrying his child. With no support, in a different time, she made the agonizing choice to give the baby up for adoption, placing her silver locket, his first gift to her, in the blankets as a final token of love. Years later, after a life of quiet sorrow, she saw his picture in the society pages. Robert Thorne, alive, a successful industrialist, newly married to a beautiful socialite named Eleanor Vance. He had been injured, lost his memory for a time, and by the time he recovered and tried to find her, her family had moved, leaving no trace. He believed she had moved on, so he had tried to as well. Clara, holding the secret of their son, made the most painful decision of her life. She wrote this final letter explaining everything, and then she burned it. She chose not to destroy the life he had built, the family he had. She loved him enough to let him go. Twice. And their son. The baby she gave away. I frantically searched the letter for a name, a date. The adoption was private, closed. She never knew what happened to him. She spent a lifetime wondering, searching faces in crowds, loving a ghost of a child. I put the letter down. The pieces assembled with a cruel, beautiful clarity. Clara on that park bench. She wasn't just a homeless woman. She was a woman who had lost everything. Her love, her child, her future. She had wandered, surviving, until the night a little girl's voice pierced the frozen darkness. She saw Chloe, and then she saw me, David Thorne, the son of Robert Thorne, her son. She recognized me, not from a photograph but from my father's eyes, from the shape of his smile on my face. In that moment, in that car, she saw the ghost of her greatest love and the living face of her greatest loss. And she said nothing. For 20 years, she said nothing. She stayed not for warmth, but for a chance to be near the child she had to give up. To love him in the only way left to her, as a quiet, steady presence in the background of his life. Every soup she made, every sock she darned, every piece of wise advice she gave. It was a mother's love, whispered across a chasm of decades and sacrifice. Her final word, Eleanor, wasn't an accusation. It was an apology to my mother, the woman who raised me, for the secret she had carried into our home. I found Chloe in the garden. I didn't need to say anything. She took one look at my face, at the photograph and locket in my hands, and she knew. I told her the story, not the story of a homeless woman we saved, but the story of her grandmother, Clara Thorne, a woman of unimaginable strength and sacrifice, who loved us enough to live her final years in the silent shadow of her own truth. We had the locket cleaned. We placed inside it the tiny photo of young Clara from the suitcase, and opposite it the tiny photo of young Robert from the peer picture. Two halves of a heart, separated by fate, finally joined together. We placed a bench in her favorite spot in the garden, engraved with the only truth that mattered now, Clara Thorne, beloved mother and grandmother. Family is a choice of the heart. I thought we rescued Clara that winter night, but that's not what happened. She rescued us. She rescued me from becoming my father, a ghost successful in everything but love. She taught me that family isn't just blood. It's the choice to see, to care, to welcome someone in from the cold. She rescued Chloe by showing her that empathy is a superpower, and that true strength is gentle. And in the end, she gave us the greatest gift of all, the truth. A story of love that endured loss, of kindness that transcended biology, and of a mother's heart that found its way home, not with a grand revelation, but with 20 years of quiet, steadfast love. She was my father's first love. And though I never got to call her mother, she was mine in every way that counts. All because a little girl saw a person in the cold, and a man, for once, listened to his heart instead of his fears.